listening to international investment advisor Doug Goldstein on the Goldstein on Gelt show, the financial show where we'll talk about how you can make the most of your money. With all the confusing financial chatter bombarding you each and every day, Goldstein on Gelt will give you the practical information you want and need about living a financially stable life. Here's your host, money maven Doug Goldstein.
Okay, we are back. We are talking to Liron Mazor, who started a company called Greengrass Wealth Management in South Africa in 2005. Not only is he a certified financial planner who helps personal and corporate clients, he's also a radio show host. Liron, it's a pleasure to have you on my show.
Doug, thank you so much. It's a great honor to be with you, and good evening to all your listeners.
I'd like to start by talking about South Africa, which is where you're based, and understand the changes that have occurred, let's say, over the past several decades since the end of apartheid. What does the economy look like now?
You know, we're in a very interesting state in terms of the economy, and I'd say really more than anything else, it's because of the ANC leadership. You know, after we had the whole apartheid, the ANC came into power. And people were very nervous in terms of there was a lot of discussion about socialism, about taking over companies that the government would own. And over time, what we've really realized is that there's still a very strong democracy in place. There are times when we still get speed wobbles. There was recently the ANC Youth League was run by a gentleman called Julius Malema. And he was talking very much of converting the mines or any future mines into the ANC hands to use that to fund what they decided as socialism. But most people just felt it was just a form of cronyism, where they just really wanted to pocket the money themselves. But recently, as of last week, Thursday, there was a judgment against him where he actually disobeyed and embarrassed the ANC, both locally and overseas. And they basically called him in, and they've now suspended him from the ANC. So normally I'd be quite worried because for any country to really grow, you need to be able to sustain and maintain your democracy and ensure that there's a democratic process always in place. And with the suspension, really what it does, it says no matter who you are, you're still accountable, and there's still going to be proper laws in place. There's still going to be real accountability that ensures at all times we've still got that democracy in place. So I'm very excited about the future. I think that one or two other the very interesting developments that we've had take place is also one of the ex-finance ministers gone into one of the finance steering committees where they're trying to really target growth to around about 2030 to really try and understand what is causing poverty in South Africa. And what's really been very fascinating about this whole committee is also about a week and a half ago, they came out with what they believe are the 6 items that they need to identify or have identified that they believe that they now need to start focusing on in order to get the economy to start really working. And their target to get this done is 2030.
2030?
So, yeah, 2030.
Very long-term plan. Okay, so what are the 6 items they're going to work on?
One of them is education. The other one is employment, medical health. I can't remember them all offhand. I've just caught me a bit off guard on that question. But
it sounds like they're very general improvements. Every country would like to do that. What makes you think that South Africa, in fact, could be successful in doing this?
So I don't know if they can be successful. I'll be honest, I don't know. But I like the fact that they're addressing the issues and they're trying to find ways to solve the issues. I'd be more concerned if they weren't addressing these issues. And there wasn't a discussion to say, great, guys, this is really what we have to start putting our energy towards. The reason being is if you don't have a focus, you don't know really where you're going. It's like in a business. So if you don't really know what your differentiator is or where your problems are, you don't know what to correct, you're going to go in a constant spiral and you're going to keep going down and down. We hear you saying, great, we have to stop the spiral. We need to understand why hasn't it worked and what do we have to do to correct it. If they're going to do it, I'm not too sure. I'm confident in terms of the fact that they've addressed business in general. The steering committees are about 30% of independent business owners, probably the most successful business owners in the country, and the remaining 70% from both different political parties and the government itself.
Is the South African economy friendly to small business owners?
Not at the moment. It's a big problem, especially when it comes to loans. And also this from a skill set. You know, the biggest problem that we've got is you've got such a high mass of uneducated individuals that really what you've got is a lot of basic trade going on. And that I'm talking about stores on the street where you can have people selling fruit or sweets. Even looking outside my window, funny enough, I've got hawkers both outside my office and on the side street, opposite my building, which I can see directly as I'm speaking to you. Now, they don't really come with much education, and they don't really come or have the ability to go to the bank to say, great, I'd like to raise finance so I can open up a store. It's very preventative at the moment. But the government has identified this, and business in general has identified that. We've got in South Africa from a Jewish community perspective, there's an organization called OrtJet, and they run an annual business competition. The best business plan ends up winning. And one of the plans that they've identified is of an existing business where they're running internet cafes. And what they've now started to do is they've started to create a place where people can come and load their CVs, get a bit of guidance, but it's more for the lower end of the market. And they're using it now to try and attract, especially in government or people that are small SMEs, that are able to use these individuals to get them into business. Plus, the government started a semi-mentor program, and they've done that through what they call the SETAs. The SETAs is everybody sends about 1% of their earnings towards a skills development levy, and the government, depending on how many people you employ and how you send them through different education, will give you money, 1, to pay for the education, 2, to pay for them, and 3, will actually give you a tax deduction per the member that you've taken on.
Okay, so there are some steps being taken. We are talking to Liron Mazor, who started a company called Greengrass Wealth Management in South Africa. Along with being a financial radio show host, he's also a certified financial planner like I am. And he and I have actually known each other for quite some time, talking about different investment opportunities around the world. He's talking to us a little bit about what's going on in South Africa. Liron, I'd like to understand what's going on since a lot of people have left South Africa. In fact, here in Israel, and you and I have spoken about your moving to Israel one day because we always try to encourage people to move over here. Many members of the wealthy white community who were Jewish have left South Africa. What's the impact on the economy there of that change?
It's a great question that you're asking, and I think that from a skills development point of view, it's problematic because you've got such brilliant skills that have left the market. On the other hand, especially from middle income earners, because so many people have left the country, you've had a big influx of black individuals taking over those positions. That's created a whole new middle class in the black within the black community, which now are defined as black diamonds. The benefit of having black diamonds is that they're now gaining knowledge which they didn't have before, but you're also introducing an entire new segment of the population into the working world. So on the one hand, it's been detrimental. On the other hand, there's been a good benefit to it. The benefit being is as the black diamonds become more knowledgeable, they're now opening up their own businesses and employing more people. And that's really what we've got to start pushing to. And I think that comes back to one of the previous points where we spoke about Trevor Manuel and his steering committee, where really what they are trying to do is drive to say, well, how do we help people either get into business or start their businesses? And once they're in there, the most important is how do we get them to become successful in running a business? Do you know what I mean? As you know, most businesses fail within the first 5 years.
Do you think that the model of the change that happened in South Africa is something that other African countries will be able to follow, or that was a unique situation?
It's a great question you asked me. I don't know. I'd hope that they could, because I think ultimately when you've got a democracy, it really makes a big difference. But as you've seen, for example, in Zimbabwe, it hasn't happened. In Nigeria, it has happened. They've still got a very good democracy. And if anything, Nigeria's economy is doing exceptionally well. What you're finding is that many South Africans are now looking at how to do business in Nigeria or other countries. One of my clients runs an educational institution where they're now looking at saying, how do you get into Nigeria? And if you look at the numbers from if I can call it from a pure cash flow perspective, it's quite astounding, because if Nigeria does become, let's say, for this specific education institution, one of its new one of its new countries it's now offering its services in, they're able to almost double their current cash flow just by going in and, let's say, addressing only 20 or 30% of the population. That's according to the figures. And, it's always something that's on paper, so it's not definite. Mm-hmm. But the ability to be able to have such growth is quite astounding. I mean, you're not really able to find that show in South Africa. Companies like Mozambique, Nigeria, Angola. All of them are really starting to change, and the economies are doing brilliantly.
I think that for a lot of our listeners who are Americans or Israelis or Anglos, South Africa has never really been on the map of where they want to invest, where they want to send their hard-earned dollars to see if they can make some money on it, except I guess for the people who are playing the gold market a little bit. But given what's going on and the changes you've described to us in the last minute or two, could you tell me, is South Africa a good bet for foreign investors to send their money?
Doug, you're asking me great questions this evening. I'll put it to you this way. Let's maybe look at it from a different perspective. Do I believe South Africans should be invested in South Africa, or they should be invested overseas? And over the long term, I mean, we've seen the JSE has been able to give us, in many cases, outperform overseas markets. So the JSE, to be able to invest into it as a local investor, has definitely given you superb returns. Many companies are without a doubt solid. The problem that I've got, it's the problem I always have in Africa, is that there's just constant uncertainty. Because, at the one minute you're seeing these glimmer of hopes where you say, geez, great, there's this brilliant democracy, we've got nothing to worry about. You're seeing Walmart come into South Africa because they want to use it as part of their stepping stone to get into the rest of South Africa. Surely a company like Walmart is seeing a good opportunity. It has to say something for the region. There has to be a good opportunity. But if I had to ask for myself moving forward, where would I want my clients to be invested? I think from a rand hedge, I'd actually like them to probably be invested 50 or even 60% offshore and 40% in South Africa. So now coming back to your question is, do I believe that foreign investors should be in South Africa? I think that when it comes to our bonds, that they're definitely well priced. I think that the banking structure is exceptionally solid. So I think that you can definitely be very comfortable there. How much would I invest in South Africa? I'm not too sure. I don't think I'd be putting a lot of my money into South Africa. But having said that, I still see a lot of opportunity. I'm just risk adverse when it comes to my clients to say, I'd rather put you in something I can say 100% than something I can say 40%.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm sure that it's different for every person because each person's in his own situation. Liron, it's been very interesting getting an education about what's going on in the South African market. In the last few seconds, could you just tell us how could people follow you and learn more about the things that you're saying?
Well, I think that the two best ways are either through my website, which is www.greengrasswealth.co.za, or you can log on to www.highfm.com, and that's my radio station. Every Tuesday night from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I have a show. We discuss different topics. Sometimes they're locally based, sometimes they're mentor-based, where I'll bring in some of the top business men in South Africa, black or white. And, we'll try and understand some of their stories and what has led there to their success. And often we'll also deal with overseas individuals and where are they investing and why are they investing there, or what they're feeling is where the market's going to be going.
Okay, Liron Mazor from Greengrass Wealth Management in South Africa. Thanks very much for your time.
Great. Thanks, Doug. Have a good evening.
You've been listening to the Goldstein on Gelt Show with money maven Doug Goldstein. Doug's weekly radio show is heard around the world, but if you miss it, you can download the podcast at www.goldsteinongelt.com. The Goldstein on Gelt Show gives you up-to-date financial ideas so you can get on the path to financial freedom. If you'd like your questions answered on the air or off, send Doug an email to doug@profile-financial.com. It's your money for your future, so join Doug every week to build your wealth on the Goldstein on Gelt Show.